Yes. My best does not have to do with 85. My worst was something he was involved in, but not his fault. There was a play that Jaquan Brisker made. Now that the stands they're not completely gone at Halas Hall, but now that the stands are no longer being used and we are back to our sort of sideline view, just steps away from the field, we got an up close look at a play that happened right in front of us with Jaquan Brisker covering a lot of ground coming across the field to intercept it was Caleb who threw that pass, right? I'm pretty sure that was a Caleb Williams pass.
100%.
But, if you can put aside that, yes, Caleb Williams did throw an interception, Jaquan Brisker, the amount of ground he covered on that play, he caught it while falling down. I don't know if you quite call it a diving interception, but sort of a going to the ground interception because he had to keep his feet in bounds too. And it was a really, really, really nice, athletic, fast play that Carm thought was out of bounds. However, my eye saw it perfectly with 2 feet in, and I was backed up by 2 officials. So unless 2 officials and myself were wrong, Carm's wrong.
Well, I will acquiesce to you, Hoge, on your...
That was a big word.
Yeah, well, shout out to Glenn Morgan, who acquiesced to me on the final time I ever got to host a football night in Chicago and admitted that I was right, which is my goal ultimately. Whenever my last show is here, hopefully in a decade plus, that Hoge will finally acquiesce my way. But I will acquiesce to you today that you saw it correctly. But regardless, I like that you underlined that we were on the sideline. It's very rare that we get to be that close, and the ball is coming right to us almost, and here comes Brisker flying, and he's sliding like a couple of feet from us. It was a hell of a play. Late in training camp, you could kind of let that one go. It wasn't going to be complete, but Brisker with the full-time effort, I enjoyed the play, and fine, whatever. He was in bounds. If you want to give Caleb an interception, that's on you. I was trying to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, well, it still did happen. We have to say what happens at practice, good or bad. It was a really tough, great interception. Meanwhile, and it was also ball downfield. So like the other team would have gotten the ball, and I don't even know what down it was. So maybe it was like, could have been 3rd and long, like a punt, because he ended up catching it inside the 10, I believe.
Regardless, it was triple coverage too. Go ahead.
Yeah. My worst goes for just something you don't. I love Kyler Gordon. I love how Kyler Gordon's always flying around the field. I love his style of play. He is hits, ball, everything Matty Eberflus wants. But when you're not in pads, especially when you're not in pads, but even when you're in pads, knocking over the highly paid tight end, sort of blindsiding him, but especially in a practice where you're not in pads. I'm glad Cole's okay, because he looked like a little, I don't want to say shaken up, but the hit definitely surprised him, and it shouldn't have happened. I don't think it was malicious or anything. It's just they are NFL players out there on a practice field, and they do run into each other sometimes. But now that the preseason's over, let's take care of these guys, please, and not have more important players get hurt.
Yeah, it belongs for me on one of our worst. I was going to make it mine as well, because don't hit Cole Kmet coming across the middle on a Saturday practice, the 2 days before cutdown day with the season coming around September 8th. And I'm not in the mind of Cole Kmet, but I think he literally was supremely annoyed, then got up, thought about, do I need to have a fight right now? And just thought better of it and went back to the huddle. And Gordon did, I think, pull him up and say, basically, I'm sorry, didn't mean that, whatever. But it was the jarring moment of today's practice.
Yeah. Literally jarring.
Yeah.
Especially to Cole. So yeah, that's my best and worst. Carm, what do you got?
So, it's just getting a little redundant here. I get it. But Tyson Bagent threw a freaking dime down the right sideline. My apologies. On Twitter, I said it was on the left sideline. It was a throw down the right sideline. Perfect stride, right to Tyler Scott, touchdown. And Bagent did is that the bow and arrow, Hoge? What is that thing that he was, is that what it is? The bow and arrow?
Are you asking me a Bajan question? Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't already have his celebration. That's
I
pretty
should.
much well known at this point.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
It's
just
like he's
confirming.
shooting an arrow. He does,
Yeah.
he makes a pass and then he does that.
Yeah. Well,
It's very
and
disappointing.
I apologize
That's my new worst of the day, actually, that you didn't know Bajan's celebration.
That's fair. I apologize to Tyson and to Travis and to his mom, whose name I also don't know. That's a loaf right there. I should know Bajan's mother's name. That's a bad job. But not to Betty's, where he had the 6 eggs after doing the 1 mile burpee broad jump extravaganza. So it was a sweet throw. Would you agree, Adam Hoge, that was the best throw of the day? I knew I wasn't going to get immediate buy-in, but he's at least debating.
Well, because I almost made it my best, but Caleb had that really nice out to DJ Moore,
which
and I honestly think I'm hesitating because I'm not trying to put down the throw to Tyson's throw, or even disagree with what you're saying because it was a great throw. But I think the degree of difficulty on a go ball is not as high as Caleb's perfectly timed out route to DJ that was also with excellent accuracy. So I think Caleb's throw was actually harder on an NFL scale.
And more likely to be made. I actually will agree with you and back down, as I did put on the rundown that I was going to mention both, because the throw to DJ, which I also tweeted about today, what was impressive about it to me is DJ's running right towards us down the sidelines. I think he's on a go route, and boom, he breaks it off. And before he broke it off, Caleb, that was a dart right on the money. And this was a light Saturday practice. I don't want to get over the top on one throw, but that thing was like, oh, that is how an NFL quarterback throws an out in the NFL to beat any defender that nobody could possibly stop that play. It was absolutely sweet. I concur. And my worst on the day, I get it. And I'm pointing the thumb here mainly. And look, Chris Williams coming over here, 2025 6th rounder, and you get a 7-6 flip. It's not the most exciting. He's bouncing around practice squads. He's barely played in the league. But we just didn't do a good job in our interview preparation today. He came in ready to talk, and I just thought the media did a very bad job today interviewing Chris Williams. Didn't give him the respect that he deserves as a guy that's been around the league, and I didn't ask a question. So I'm looking at myself on a light day where Hoge took the Cole Kmet, Kyler Gordon moment. I think I got to go to the media today and say that, Brad Biggs, Courtney Cronin, Mark Potash, Alex Shapiro, Mark Grody, whoever else was in that room that I'm leaving out, we all could have done better. Chris Williams deserved better from us.
That was a 3-minute press conference.
It was terrible. It was so painful. And he comes out there, he's like, "Hey guys, super happy to be here. Life is crazy. I was with Matt." Actually, that's not true. I did ask him one thing, like, what do you remember about Matt Eberflus? I should have given myself more credit. And he did it.
You should give yourself credit. That was probably the best question, the best answer.
I think it was. And he's like, ball, get the ball. All right, Flus.
No wonder that they traded for you.
We'll
talk about him. Yeah, we'll talk about him a little bit more. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's it. It was just we could have done Chris better. So I'd like to apologize to Chris and the Williams family for our performance.
I like how you make a lot of apologies to these families.
Well, imagine if his mom was watching. Hopefully she was. And here's her son, and he's in Chicago, and she wants to hear him talk, and we do nothing. It's a bad job.
One more shout out. This could have easily been something that could have looked like the worst to begin with, and then maybe turned into the best. But I'm just going to leave it for what Flu said. But Jalen Johnson left practice early today, and we we're all kind of like wondering what was up with that, because he was out there and then he wasn't out there. And it didn't look like anything happened, but Flus did say after the practice it was for personal reasons, and he said it's a good thing, it's not a bad thing. My personal view on these things is I will let the player and make whatever announcements he wants to, because it is personal stuff, and that's cool. But I think if you Google or look at anything on Twitter, you could probably put one and one together on what was going on there and some of the interviews Jalen Johnson has done. So, but nothing to worry about there. All good news for Jalen Johnson. And I'm sure we'll see him later on when I think the Bears are going to have a padded practice on Wednesday. It sounds like Wednesday, Thursday, 3 more padded practices before the first game.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And the flu's underlying, these next couple of days are very important. We're going to get our mind and our body in better condition. I did remotely think about asking exactly how does the Flus get his mind in better condition, because I need to get my mind in better condition. But I decided that the room was not a great choice. So, at any rate, thank you, Hoge. Go ahead.
We all silly like the mayor.